All right, everyone, we are going to go on the record. Court is calling 2021 CR 11795, State of Texas versus Angel Gonzalez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Anna Ochoa Nelson, Allie Jackson,
Kathy Compton, and Rolando Arguelles for the defendant, Mr. Gonzalez.
And are you Mr. Gonzalez? All right, I know that the state had rested, but I think for purposes of the record, state you need to reopen because we have that exhibit
yes,
that you all agreed to relabel. So any objections to the state reopening for purposes of the exhibit?
Oh, no.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor, we would withdraw State's Exhibit number 47A and move to admit State's Exhibit number 47. To prior discussions.
All right, any objections, defense?
No, other than the prior objections that we had made.
And then I'll show you what 14 is like.
All right, then 47A then 47 will be admitted. All right, and with that addition, state, do you rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'll have you re-rest in front of the jurors as well.
And Judge, we're going to ask the court, we're going to make a motion for directed verdict.
Okay.
And I don't have a copy of the indictment in front of me, but I do not believe that the state has met its burden, even the threshold burden of proving each and every element of either one of those paragraphs to a level that it should even get to the jury. So what I'm going to ask the court to do is to find that they have fallen woefully short of their burden in this case, that there is not any evidence with regard to any intent to cause Isaac's death, or in the alternative paragraph that there was any intent to commit serious bodily injury. So, or knowledge. And I think that to proceed and allow the jury at this point to consider that would violate our client's rights to a fair trial. It would violate his constitutional rights under the U.S. Constitution, the Texas Constitution, and it would just deprive him of his right to due process generally.
All right, state response.
Your Honor, all that is required under the law is that the state produce a scintilla of evidence regarding each and every element of an offense. I feel that we've at the very least met that for him.
All right.
My argument is that they have not.
Okay. All right. That motion will be denied. Defense, are you ready to proceed with your witnesses? And do you have opening statements?
We'll do a brief opening, and then we do have witnesses here.
All right. And off the record, just so you know, counsel, I did email the judge from County Court at number 6 to let them know that you're here.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. May I have a minute to run upstairs to get my medication? I
Yes.
in my bag. It's
Sure.
on my desk.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you. Oh, it's probably going to take her a while to run upstairs. Okay. I'll let you go. All right. Thank you.
No la pierdes.
No. Eso es el problema.
I looked for it, I couldn't find it.
No, they're
Probably
here.
somewhere.
I hide everything from myself.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. You're welcome. So what will end up happening is state, just so the exhibit is offered in front of the jury, you'll reopen just to offer that exhibit and then close, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, Judge.
All right. We ready? Yes.
All right, for the jury.
Yeah, I mean.
All right. Everyone, please be seated. And state, I believe you wanted to reopen just briefly.
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to reopen in order to withdraw State's Exhibit 47A and then to submit State's Exhibit number 47.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, then that's allowed, and state exhibit number 47 will be admitted and 47A will be withdrawn. With that, do you rest?
Yes, Your Honor, we rest.
Defense, do you have any opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Thank you. May I please support counsel, ladies and gentlemen? I want to start with this, just a reminder that nothing that lawyers say is evidence. We talk a lot, but what you really need to pay attention to is what you hear from the witness stand. That is where the evidence comes to you from. And opening statements are the attorney's opportunity to let you know what we anticipate our evidence will be. Now, that can be sort of a hopeful and very optimistic process because, as you've seen, people can be very complicated. Sometimes getting somebody on the stand, you may or may not hear what you expect to hear as the attorney on either side. But I always believe this: juries know the truth when they see it. And so what we hope to do this afternoon is to allow you, through the witnesses that we are bringing, to have a fuller and much more accurate picture of what went on that day on October 3rd. And to do that, what we hope to do is we hope to go back even further than that, to let you know about these two brothers, to let you know about how Angel and Isaac grew up. There were 3 siblings. There was Isaac, the oldest. There was Angel, and there was Annabelle. And these were 3 kids that unfortunately didn't get to have the childhood that a lot of kids deserve. And that makes me kind of emotional, and please forgive me because I have 2 boys about the same age as Isaac and Angel. These were kids who, from the beginning, had a lot of challenges. Their mother was addicted to drugs. Their father, also Isaac, was an incredibly violent person. And I'm very happy to tell you that the Isaac that Angel knows and Annabelle knows today is very much changed from that younger version of himself. These kids grew up in what most of us in this day and age now we understand a lot more about, in this just kind of cyclical, abusive household. They really didn't even get much time with their dad other than when there was violence going on towards their mother. You will learn that eventually Isaac Sr., and I'll just use that to differentiate him from Isaac, the son. So eventually, Isaac Sr., he goes to prison. And one of the times he ended up going to prison was from mercilessly beating Angel's mom when she was pregnant with Angel. So it was a rough childhood. And these kids grew up together and they loved each other and they looked out for each other. And Isaac, unfortunately, modeled a lot of that bad behavior he had seen. But that doesn't mean, and it didn't mean, that Angel didn't love his brother. And it didn't mean that Isaac didn't love Angel. We're going to bring you the other two people that were there at the party. And you're going to hear from them. And you're going to hear from them what they saw and what they heard and what they didn't hear. And you're going to hear from the witness stand the things that they saw and the things that they did. And you're going to hear from them that this was not some intentional violent act. This wasn't an intentional and knowing murder. What this was, at the end of all of the evidence, I think we're going to have to come to the very probably unsatisfactory and tragically sad conclusion that nobody, including Angel, including Isaac, including anybody at that party, actually knows what happened. And at the end of our evidence, I feel very confident, because I do know that juries know the truth when they see it, that you will understand one thing, that what did not happen at that party was murder.
All right, defense, call your first witness.
Defense calls Angelica Diaz to the stand.
All right, just have a seat. If you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the members of the jury and the court reporter can hear. And if you'll state your name for the record.
Angelica Diaz.
All right, defense.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Ms. Diaz. How are you?
Afternoon. Good. How are you?
Could you please introduce yourself again to the jury?
My name is Angelica Diaz.
And Ms. Diaz, before we begin, I'm not trying to embarrass you or anything, but have you ever been convicted of a felony or a theft in your life before?
Yes, I have.
And what was that felony you were convicted for?
I had theft of a vehicle and unlawful carrying a weapon.
And when was this?
It was in 2018.
Do you have anything after that?
No.
And have you ever been convicted of a theft?
Just from that time.
And Ms. Diaz, how is it that you know Angel Gonzalez?
I met Angel in 2016 through another friend.
And how old were you when you met him?
I was 23, 24.
And how would you describe your relationship with Angel?
I had got close to Angel right away.
Okay. I'm going to fast forward you in time to October 3rd of 2021. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Let's start off before we get to the party. How was it that you found out about this party?
We knew that it was Angel's birthday that day, and he had told us that they were gonna have a little get together at his sister's house. So we all went together to her house that day.
Okay. Who is we?
It was me, my brother Isaiah, and Angel.
And y'all left your residence to attend the party?
Yes.
And do you remember where this party was located at?
It was on Liao Street.
Okay. At what time did you leave for this party?
Probably around 5,
At what time did you arrive at the party?
5:30 maybe.
Who was all there when you arrived at the party?
It was Annabelle, his sister Moses, their 2 daughters, Isaac's girlfriend, and the sister.
Okay. Your Honor, may I move freely about the will?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as. I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this location?
Yes,
Okay. What is this location of?
that's the side yard of Annabelle's house.
And is this how the party looked at before the incident occurred on this day? The layout.
Yes,
So on this day, where exactly were you even sitting at this table?
yes.
Where were you sitting? And if you can come down and to help me just point out in this picture where it is that you were.
Sitting,
You can use my pen for.
I was sitting right here in this area.
Okay. And where was anybody else sitting at this table
Yes.
at that time?
Yes, it was Isaac and Isaiah.
Okay. Where, if you can pinpoint where everybody was located.
I believe Isaiah was sitting right here. Isaac was sitting right here across from me.
Can you speak up a little?
Isaac was sitting right here across from me. Isaiah was sitting in between us.
Were there anybody else sitting with you? Can go back up. To the
Okay.
list. Was there anybody else sitting with you at the table at that time?
No, there wasn't.
Was an individual by the name of Christine sitting at the table at that time?
No,
Was an individual by the name of Juliet sitting at the table at that time?
no.
Do you recognize who those two individuals are?
Yes,
Do you happen to remember where they were at the time that you were sitting on at the table?
yes, they were more towards the other side of the playground, like in the distance with the kids.
Okay. And where was Isaac at this time?
Isaac was sitting on the table with me and Isaiah.
And where was Angel?
Angel was with everybody else, with the kids before he had walked to the table where we were sitting at.
And what happens when Angel arrives at the table?
There was a misunderstanding, and it would seem that Isaac had got upset about something that was said, but again, it was a misunderstanding, and they got exchanged words and got into an argument.
And just if you know, do you know what that misunderstanding was about?
Yes, it was Angel had said he had said that he loves his nieces and nephews like he loves his dogs.
And did you take that to mean that that was him being derogatory to his nieces?
No. Anybody who knows Angel knows that he loves his animals, he loves his dogs.
Does Angel have any animals?
He did, yes.
What type of animals?
He had a really big those really big ones. I'm not too sure what they're called, but he had 2 of them. And then he would take care of my pit bull too. So he had 3 dogs at one point.
Was it the big Great Danes, like the Scooby-Doo?
Yes, the Great Danes. Yes.
Do you remember their name?
I don't remember the names.
So then afterwards, after the misunderstanding, what occurred?
Angel was standing up on the left side of me. Isaac proceeded to get up. Again, things were already heated, and Isaac had reached over to and took a swing on Angel.
Do you remember if when he swung at Angel, did he have any contact with Angel?
I think because I was in the middle, I flinched and I kind of wasn't. I wasn't looking, like I kind of was trying to get out the way.
Okay, so describe to me, what is it that you did to try and get out of the way?
Again, I was sitting right here in the corner, so I think I probably had gotten up. And when I got up, by the time I looked, they were already both on the ground.
Okay.
It happened really quick.
Can I have you step out of the well again?
Yes.
Just to give context of the jury. This is the slide right here. Where were you?
From the slide?
Correct. If we're looking at the picture right there, say exhibit number 1, and this is the slide. It ends right here. Where were you?
I was over here on this side. The slide was still a good little distance, probably from me to you. That's not where the slide was.
Okay. And where did the fight ensue?
It ended up kind of where the fan is at, and like between the fan and the pavement. They were laying right there on the ground. They were in the ground.
And how far away were they from you? Give me distance, like
Probably
from me to you.
I'm right here. They were probably like right here.
It's like this close to you.
Yes.
Yeah. And at that point, can you describe to me how the brothers were?
I'm sorry.
At that point, can you describe to me how the brothers were?
When, at the moment, when on the
Correct. Yes.
Angel was on the floor facing up and Isaac was on top of Angel. They were both, their heads facing this way. Again, Isaac was on top of Angel and Angel was on the ground.
Before they got on their ground, were there any punches thrown at each other?
I don't remember.
Can you describe to me? So was Angel with his back towards the ground, or how was he looking?
His back was on the ground, he was facing up, and they were kind of face to face. Isaac being on top of Angel.
Did you happen to see if there was a knife?
I saw that there was a knife, yes.
Do you happen to know who had the knife?
No, I don't know who pulled out the knife.
Did you happen to see them struggling over a knife?
Yes, I did see them with like trying to get the knife. Had both in their hands. They were fighting for it.
Okay. How is it? Do you know whose hand was on the handle of the knife?
I don't remember.
So you don't know whether if Angel's hand was on it or if Isaac's hand was on it.
No, I don't remember.
Do you remember how long the fight lasted, or how long they were on the ground? I'm sorry.
Probably 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay. What happened after that?
After they had separated, we left. Me, Isaiah, and Angel.
How was it that they separated?
I'm not too sure. It happened really quick.
Where did you leave?
We left to the apartment we were staying at on the north side.
And if I remember correctly, you said you drove to this location, correct?
Yes.
Is it accurately to say that your car was parked where the police car was at?
Yes, probably where this car was at, the one in front of it. That's where we were parked.
That's where your vehicle was parked.
Yes.
And who did you leave with?
Isaiah and Angel.
And why is it that you felt that you all had to leave?
I was in shock and I was scared, and I was just the first instinct to I didn't want to be around it to leave.
Who was the driver of the vehicle when you were leaving?
It was me.
At any point, did you threaten anybody that you were gonna run them over, kick anybody, punch anybody?
No, I didn't.
Did you hear anybody's?
No.
Where did y'all head to?
We left to the apartment we were staying out on the northeast side.
And who was that? Your apartment, your brother's apartment? Amy's
It was
apartment?
all of ours. We were all staying there.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes. And just for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, I'm filling in for another judge as presiding judge. So when you see people at the back of the courtroom that are officers, it has absolutely nothing to do with this case. And so sometimes I see them and I'll let the deputies know so they can bring the paperwork to me.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as defendant's exhibit number 4. Do you recognize the individual in that picture?
Yes,
And who is that?
that's Angel.
Do you happen to know when that picture was taken?
It was taken October 3rd.
Where was this picture taken at? What location?
I mean, that was the apartment that we were staying at.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as defendant's exhibit number 3. Do you recognize the individual in this picture?
Yes,
Do you know when or about this picture was taken?
I was taken October 3rd.
Do you know at what location this picture was taken?
It was at the apartment that we were staying on the northeast side
How do you know that was taken at the apartment where you were residing?
because I was taken on my phone.
Now I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as defendant's exhibit number 5. Do you recognize the individual in this picture?
Yes,
And who is the individual in this picture?
that's Angel.
And how do you know that is Angel Gonzalez?
Because that was the day that we were in the vehicle, I guess, on the way back to the apartment.
And at this moment, I'm going to tender these pictures to state's counsel for any objection.
No objection.
All right, and what are the numbers, please?
That is defense exhibit number 3, 4, and 5.
All right, defense exhibits 3, 4, and 5 are admitted without objection. Granted.
So, Ms. Diaz, I'm showing you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 3. Who is the individual in this picture?
That's Angel.
And this picture was taken where?
It was at the apartment on the northeast side. It was taken on my phone.
And can you by any chance see what it is that he has here on his nose?
Yes, he was cut really bad on his nose. It was like sliced. So I think he like kind of glued it together.
Do you know with what he was cut? If you know.
I was assuming it was cut with a knife. It looked like a slice.
Now I'm going to show you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 4. And who's the individual in this picture?
You know,
And where was this picture taken?
I was staying at the apartment as well.
And do you happen to know how he sustained this injury right here on his left eyebrow?
It looks like a punch.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
All right, that'll be sustained to speculation.
I'll withdraw the question. And now I'm showing you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 5. Who is the individual in this picture?
That's Angel.
And do you happen to know where this picture was taken?
It was in the vehicle on the way back to the apartment.
So, Ms. Diaz, what happened after you got to the apartment?
We were there, we were all kind of freaking out, and we didn't know what was going on at that point.
Do you happen to know at what time did you find out that Angel's brother Isaac had passed away?
It was around between 10 and 11, 10:30 maybe.
And what happened after that?
Again, Angel was in shock. We were all in shock, and Angel had ended up leaving after, like shortly after.
If I may take you a little bit back in time, did you by any chance have an interview with the Detective Hamilton?
Yes.
And what was it that you told Detective Hamilton?
I told him the same story that I'm saying right now.
Would it surprise you that in the interview, he alleges that you told him that Angel was the one that initially slapped Isaac?
Yes, that would surprise me.
Is that your recollection of that event?
No.
So your recollection of that event is that Isaac slapped Angel on that day.
Yes.
And you happen to testify earlier that you met Angel in 2016, correct?
Yes.
Had you met Isaac previously to October 3rd of 2021?
Yes, I met them all the same day.
Had you had any previous interactions with Isaac prior to October 3rd of 2021?
Yes, a couple interactions.
Was there anything about this family that stood out to you?
Like I said, I was more close to Angel when I had met them.
Was there any other occasions where you actually dealt with both Isaac and Angel?
Yes, we had I had a birthday party, I think in 2017, and Angel was there, and so was Isaac as well.
And why does that particular birthday party stand out to you?
Objection, Your Honor, specific instance of conduct.
May we approach Judge?
Yes, you may approach. And gentlemen, my understanding, we will finish today as far as with all the testimony, but I'm gonna have to ask you all to step back for a moment, and I will bring you all out at no later than 2:20. Okay? And remember my previous instructions. All right, everyone, please be seated. And you're still under oath, defense?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz,
Yes.
to everything that you know about Isaac, would you agree or disagree that he has a violent character?
Good.
No further questions, pass the witness.
State?
Ms. Diaz, you mentioned that you were convicted of was it theft of vehicle in 2018?
Yes.
And we talked about you driving to the party and then driving away from the party after the incident. Is that right?
Yes.
Whose car was that?
I'm not too sure whose car it was.
It was stolen, wasn't it?
Correct.
Objection relevant?
That'll be overruled.
I'm going to show you what's been marked and admitted as defendants exhibits 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I'm showing you defendants 3 again. What color shirt is Angel wearing in this picture?
It's like a black or a navy blue.
But what color shirt was he wearing at the party?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Do you remember telling Detective Hamilton that he was wearing a white shirt?
Yes, that rings a bell. He was wearing a white shirt.
Do you remember what you told Detective Hamilton about what he did with that white shirt?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. Would it surprise you if he told the detective that Angel threw his clothes in the dumpster?
I can't remember that part back.
Would it surprise you if he said that?
No, that's surprising.
I'm going to show you defense exhibit 4. Is Angel's hair wet in that photo?
It looks wet, or like it does look wet.
Had he just gotten out of the shower?
I don't remember.
Was he washing the blood off his face?
Eventually he did.
Was this before or after he threw his clothes in the dumpster?
I don't remember.
I'm going to show you defense exhibit number 5. Is that white shirt we were just talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And you said this was in the back of the car as y'all were getting away.
Yes, we were leaving to the apartment.
So instead of being concerned about his brother, Angel's taking selfies in the back of the car.
I guess just to see that he was injured as well.
That's the witness.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused?
From the state judge.
On the defense.
All right, you may step down. Defense, call your next witness.
The defense calls Isaiah Gutierrez.
Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record, and be sure to keep your voice up so that members of the jury and the court reporter can hear.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
My name is Isaiah Gutierrez.
All right, defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hi, Mr. Gutierrez. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, good. Thank you for asking. Mr. Gutierrez, how is it that you came to meet Angel Gonzalez?
I met him through my sister.
And when was that?
I want to say back in 2019.
And who's your sister?
Angelica.
Was that the individual that was just here previously?
Yes, sir.
And would you consider Angel to be a good friend to you? What was your relationship?
Yeah, he was a good friend to me. Like I said, I knew him through my sister, and that's how I met him.
Did y'all hang out a lot before or no?
Here and there, when I would be with my sister, he would be around, so I would hang out also.
I'm going to take you a little bit back in time to October 3rd of 2021. Do you remember that day?
Yes, a little bit. Not everything, but I do.
Let's start off at the beginning of that day. What was it that you were going to do that day?
Honestly, I just got invited to a barbecue, and because it was Angel's birthday, so I got invited, and we went to the barbecue.
And who invited you to the
My sister and Angel.
How did y'all go to the barbecue?
I got a ride with my sister.
Was it in your sister's vehicle?
I believe so.
And do you remember where the party was located?
I believe it was at his sister's house.
Do you remember at what time roughly you arrived there?
I do not remember.
And when you arrived at said party, who was all there?
It was his sister. I don't remember exactly all the names because I met them all just that day. So it was the sister, his brother's wife. I believe his sister's kids and the sister's boyfriend.
And was the party an inside or outside party?
It was an outside party. Like I said, we're having a barbecue.
And I'm going to show you what's been previously marked up. It's exhibit number 1. Is this an accurate depiction of how the party looked like before the incident occurred?
Yes, sir.
And if you may come down. I'm going to give you my pen, and I just want you to point exactly as to where you were sitting and who else was sitting at the table at this time.
Okay, so I was sitting, I believe, in this chair or either this chair.
Okay.
Because I was sitting in the middle. My sister was sitting on the outside, I believe on this chair. Isaac was sitting on this chair, either one. Either because I remember I was in the middle. So it was either this chair or this chair I was sitting on. Isaac was sitting on the outside. My sister was sitting right here.
Was there anybody else sitting at the table with you?
No, sir.
Was there an individual by the name of Juliet sitting at the table?
No, sir.
Was there an individual by the name of Christine sitting at the table?
No, sir. It was
Do you-
just us at the table.
Do you reckon?
you to slow down, please.
Do you recognize those names?
No, like I said, I don't remember them by names.
And you said, where was Angel at this time?
Angel was in the yard playing like with everybody else because everybody else was in the yard playing with the kids.
And at what time, or if you remember, when did Angel come and sit down with you?
I believe we were all sitting, me, Isaac, and my sister were sitting at the table. That's when Angel came from the yard while he was playing with the kids, came and made a comment. That's when Isaac took it offensive and it was a misunderstanding. They just kind of went from there.
And what was that misunderstanding, if you remember?
I don't believe exactly what was said, but I know Angel said something about him, his nieces reminded him of his like little puppies or his dogs or something like that. I don't remember exactly what was said.
And do you know if he meant that to be derogatory towards his nieces?
Oh no, I know Angel himself. He loves dogs. I know that since the day I met him.
Does Angel actually have any pets?
Yeah, I believe he had 2. He had I believe a Great Dane or they're big dogs.
So then what happened after this argument ensued?
So after the argument happened, words were exchanged, and Isaac made a comment like, "You better calm down before I slap you." And that's when it led. More words were exchanged. It led out of hand, and Isaac got up and swung across the table and slapped Angel, and that's when they kind of just fumbled and winded up on the ground wrestling.
And let me stop you right there. So Isaac got up and slapped Angel.
Yeah, he swung across the table because, like I said, I was right in the middle, so I saw what happened.
Did he slap him with the right hand or with the left hand? Do you remember?
It was, I believe, right hand.
And then after that, what occurred?
That's when they just, it happened so quick. Like I said, they winded up on the ground. It wasn't even like, I want to say a minute or so, and they winded up on the ground fumbling. And I was gonna go break it up myself, but that's when I heard there was a knife. My sister yelled out, "Hey, there's a knife! Watch out!" So I backed up from them fumbling because I didn't want to get hurt myself.
And if you were sitting in the blue chair, whenever they ended up on the ground, where did you go? Did you go to the left? Did you go to the right?
I went to the left because they were on the ground, right there, right where the other side of the table was, and so I was gonna go walk up to them and break them up. But that's when my sister was standing right there and said she saw the knife herself, and that's when I backed up because I didn't see no knife or anything.
Mr. Gutierrez, if I can have you come down real quick again.
So,
Just to show the jury, let's pretend that this is the slide right here. So if you're sitting on the blue table, when they started arguing, did you go this way or did you go this way?
I went this way.
So you went to my left or to your, if I'm you,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
sitting on the
I went
left.
to my right.
Okay. And where did you go after that?
I walked up to that pavement where you could see on the other side of that chair because they were still on that pavement area. They didn't wind up off the grass or anything. They still were on the pavement. And so I walked to, like I said, my right. And as I was gonna go break them up, I believe my sister was standing on the other side of that tree, and that's when she saw that they're fumbling with a knife in their hands. And so I backed up from the situation.
And if you can describe it to me, where was Angel located and where was Isaac located on the ground?
Okay, Angel was on his back facing up, and Isaac was on top.
And do you remember who brought out the knives?
I do not remember. Like I said, I didn't see the knife. I didn't even know there was a knife involved.
There you go. So you never saw the knife.
No, sir.
You were told that there was a knife when you're trying to separate them?
Yes, after I was told there was a knife, that's when I realized, like, I just backed up. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to be in there. I don't want to be in the situation that there's a knife in there.
And if you remember, how long were they on the ground?
Like I said, it wasn't even like a minute or so. Like it was about like 30 to 45 seconds. Happened also quick.
And then what happened once they got separated?
Once they got separated, I believe I remember Isaac walking to the slide and he was there. They were still exchanging words. I don't remember exact words that were exchanged. But that's when we fell out of place and we winded up taking off because we didn't know how serious the incident was. We didn't know what was going to happen or anything. We just winded up leaving because we fell out of place. Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
If you can repeat your answer again, just so that Madam Court Reporter can take it down.
Yes, like I said, he separated. He got up off of him. He realized that I guess he was stabbed, and so from that on, we winded up separating because we just didn't want to be there anymore. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going to happen. Like we don't know if they were looking at us bad because we were the guests with Angel. You know what I mean?
Were you scared?
Yes, of course I was scared. I've never been in a situation like that myself. I've never been in anything like that.
Were you scared that any of the other people at that party could retaliate against you?
Yes, possibly. Like I said, I don't know. Not serious, but like that was my first time meeting. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't know nothing. So I was just with my sister as a guest there at Angel's birthday party, and we wound up leaving.
And did all three of you like run away?
We didn't run. No, it wasn't no running thing because we were there saying like we're sorry for everything that happened. We didn't know any of this was going to happen, so we just wound up leaving.
Did you or any of the three of you make any threats against anybody at that party?
No,
Who was driving the car?
my sister.
Did she try to run over anybody?
No.
So what happened after you left? Where did you go to?
After we left, we went to the apartment that we were staying at.
And then at what time did you come to learn that Angel's brother Isaac had passed away?
I don't know the exact time, but I know it was already like hours after the situation. It was already nighttime. And that's when I believe he got a call from his sister and he found out what happened and he took off.
And what did you do after that?
After that, I was in shock myself. I didn't know what to do myself. I was just really surprised. Like I was lost out of words. I didn't know what to say.
And prior to this occasion, had you ever met Isaac before?
No, that was the first time I ever met.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
State.
Give me 1 second.
Yes, no problem. All right, state.
Mr. Gutierrez? Is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
What's your birthday?
9/16/02.
Can you spell your first name for me?
IZAIH.
No questions, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
All right, you may step down.
ma'am.
Call your next witness.
Judge, we'll call Gabriela Zapata.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. You're gonna have to make sure you keep your voice up so that members of the jury can hear and the court reporter can hear. All right, if you state your name for the record.
Gabriela Zapata.
Defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Gabriela. Can you introduce yourself to our jury and tell them how you know Angel?
My name is Gabriela and I know Angel. He is Isaac's brother. And Isaac is my son's father.
Okay. Now, did you grow up here in San Antonio?
I did.
And how old are you now?
33.
33?
Yes.
How old were you when you met Isaac?
I was 19.
And how did you meet him?
We went to high school together,
And what high school did you go to?
Linear High School.
Okay. And around what year would that have been that you met him?
It was 2011.
Do you remember what grade you was did you meet any of Isaac's other siblings other than Angel?
No.
So just the two brothers were the
The
only
two
ones
brothers.
you knew?
Yes.
Did you ever meet Annabelle?
I did meet her later on after I had my son.
Okay. So you got together in 2011. When did you have your son?
2012,
And when in 2012 was your son born?
January.
And you and Isaac were you living together? Were you just dating? What?
We just saw each other.
At any point did you begin living together in the same household?
No.
That you had a dating relationship and you shared a child?
Yes.
Okay. And how long were you together as a couple before you ended your dating relationship?
I want to say maybe like a year and a half.
Can't approach the witness, Judge.
Yes.
Gabrielle, I'm going to show you what I've marked as defendants exhibit number 6. And I'm going to ask if you recognize this document.
Yes.
And did you have occasion to seek a protective order against Isaac here in Bear County?
Yes.
And does this look like a true and accurate, it is a certified copy of that protective order? Can you look through that and tell me that that doesn't look to have been altered or changed in any way from what you remember from that time?
No. This is it.
Okay. Can we approach, Judge?
Sure. Exhibit number, defense.
That was defendant's exhibit number 6, and I'll withdraw offering it for now.
And for the record, I had defendant's exhibit number 6 marked as the demonstrative you guys used earlier. This should be defense exhibit number 9.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to blame that on my co-counsel.
Okay. So you are offering or withdrawing your previous,
Withdraw
All
at
right.
this point. So do we even need to
just a
remark
moment,
it,
for
Judge?
the record, Diana, the exhibit that the defense wanted to produce through this witness should have been defendant's exhibit number 9, and the defense is withdrawing defendant's exhibit number 9. Is that correct?
That's correct. But should we still, just to keep things clear, should we mark it still? And
Yes, it's still defendant's exhibit number 9, but it's being withdrawn.
correct.
Okay.
Now, Gabriela, at some point you did apply for a protective order, and part of that was there had been an incident that involved Isaac being having an altercation with Angel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I would like you to do. Tell me who was on, this would have been December 26th of 2015. So a ways back. What, did you have your son at this point? Well, I guess you did because you said
No,
he
I
was born in
haven't.
2012.
Yeah, I had him. I thought you meant did I have him at the house, but no, I had him.
Okay. Was your son actually present on this December 26th incident? And if you need to look at this to refresh your recollection, I'm happy to bring it back up there for you.
Can I see it?
Sure. So your son was not there
No, he wasn't there.
at the time that this occurred. So did Isaac have any sort of reaction to this particular incident that I'm referring to on December 26th, without talking about what happened to you? We're talking about what you saw Isaac do to Angel. What do you recall observing that Isaac did to Angel?
Isaac, he attacked Angel. He started fighting him.
And when you say he attacked him, do you mean he started doing what?
I
What
know
does
he
that
started.
mean to you?
I know he started pushing him, and I believe he started hitting him as well.
And hitting him with
With
clothes.
closed fists.
And again, you got to wait until I'm
Oh.
done asking my question, okay? So punching him with closed fists.
Yes.
How did that make you feel? Were you scared?
Yes.
You knew these two brothers for several years, did you not?
Yes.
Out of the two of them, who was the bigger brother?
Isaac.
And compared to how he looks now to how he looked then, is Angel more filled out, or what does he look like compared to what he looked like
The
back
same.
then?
The same.
So he's still kind of slender and shorter than Isaac was.
Yes.
Did you ever see Isaac bully Angel in other ways during the period of time that you knew both of them?
Yes.
And what sorts of things did you see Isaac do to Angel that you would have considered bullying?
It's from either just talking about him, just verbal abuse,
Well,
and then also
let me stop you. When you say talking about him, verbal abuse, like specifically, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? What kinds of things did he say?
that Angel needs to stop acting like a pussy, that he'll beat him up. Isaac will bully Angel.
And from your observations, did Angel have any sort of emotional reaction to that? Did you see that affected him in some way?
You can see it did. He just didn't really want to show it just because he is a guy. He didn't want to show that he was scared of his brother.
Do you believe he was?
I do.
And let me ask you this: do you believe that Angel loved Isaac?
I do.
And do you believe that Isaac loved Angel?
I do.
As between the two of them, when you knew them both for about the same amount of time, as between the two of them, would you say that Isaac was the more peaceful or the more violent of the two brothers?
The more violent.
And obviously, you loved him too, right?
Yes.
Did you know about the hardships that Isaac and Angel and Annabelle had when they were growing up?
I knew about some of it, yes.
Would you say that they had a pretty tough childhood, all three of them?
They did.
With what you know of Angel, do you believe that he would have ever intentionally or knowingly tried to hurt Isaac?
Object to speculation, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Well, let me ask you about Angel. Did you ever consider Angel to be a violent person?
No.
I'll pass the witness.
State,
Just a few questions, Gabriella. Do you know what year Isaac was born?
91.
91. Okay. So in 2015, the incident you're describing, he would have been about 24 years old.
About.
And then when he died in 2021, he would have been 30.
Yes.
Pass the witness.
I just have one follow-up question. So did Isaac have any other children before he had a child with you, or was the first child that he had with you?
The first child.
And so, and you have a boy, and how old is he now?
12.
Okay. And do you know the name of who Isaac was married to when he died?
Danielle.
Do you know Danielle's last name?
It's with a V. Yeah, I can't pronounce her last name.
But it's not anybody named Christine, is it?
No,
And do you know who Christine is?
I do.
And at the time that Christine and Isaac were together, was Christine married to Isaac?
No.
Pass the witness.
No further questions.
all right, is this witness excused?
Yes. State.
You may step down. Defense, call your next witness.
Judge, we're going to call Isaac Gonzalez.
Okay. All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up for members of the jury and the court reporter. If you just state your name for the record, please.
Isaac Gonzalez.
Thank
Defense?
you, Judge. And good afternoon. Do you prefer that I call you Mr. Gonzalez, or can I call you Isaac? Is that okay?
Doesn't matter. Whatever you feel more comfortable with.
Well, then I'm going to call you Isaac, if that's all right with you. You seem very soft spoken, so there's a microphone there that's helping us to hear you. And also, this young lady in front of you is a court reporter. She's taking down everything that I'm saying right now and everything that you will be answering to my questions. So please speak in a loud voice and just speak slowly, so we can make sure to understand everything and have a good record. So, Isaac, can you please introduce yourself to the jury, and can you tell them how you know Angel Gonzalez?
My name is Isaac Gonzalez, and I know my son because he's my son. So that's how I know him.
And Isaac, can you tell the jury how many children do you have other than Angel?
It was Isaac and my stepdaughter Annabelle.
Okay, so you had your two biological kids are Isaac, and now his last name is Aguilar.
Correct.
And can you explain to the jury why Angel's last name is Gonzalez, and with an S, by the way, and your last name is Gonzalez with an S, and then Isaac had Aguilar as his last name. Can you explain that to the jury?
My son Isaac, he had his mother's last name because I was incarcerated when he was born, so I wasn't around when my son was born. So therefore, he acquired his mom's last name.
Okay, and so but Isaac and Angel, they are both your biological children. And who was their mother?
Their mother was named Sandra Ann Louise Aguilar.
Okay, and how old were you when Isaac was born?
I was about 19 years old, 20, somewhere around there.
How old are you now?
Right now, I'm 51. but I just say 11 teen.
And, and I'm just gonna take you through this, and nobody is here to try to embarrass you or judge you in any way, but we're here to talk about the truth, and part of your truth is that you have
Yes.
some things in your past that you may not be too proud of, but I'm gonna have to ask you anyway. When is the first time that you went to prison, and what did you go to prison for?
The first time that I went to prison, I believe it was back in 91, but it was on a shock probation. And I just went for 90 days, got my number, then came back. I was on probation. Then in 93, I ended up going to prison because of what I had done to the mother of my kids under the influence of drugs.
So what were you convicted of in 1991? What was that charge?
That was for a burglary of a habitation, I believe.
Okay. And so and the jury may not understand what shock probation is, but so would it be correct to say that you had gone to prison, but then that you got out and put back on probation
Correct.
after you got the shock of prison, and then they put you on probation to see if you can do probation? Is that right?
Where they sent me to back in 91, it was a boot camp for adult boot camp,
Okay.
but they called it shock probation.
And then, so you were out for a little while on that probation, but then you went back to prison, and that was, you mentioned that you went back to prison for something that you had done to the boy's mother, right? And her name was Sandra?
Sandra and Luis Aguilar.
And did you call her Sandra Ann or just Sandra?
Just Sandra.
Okay. And you said that you went to prison because of what you had done to her. What did you do?
I ended up beating her with a pipe under the influence of drugs when Angel was still in the womb.
And how long of a prison sentence did you get for that?
I received 8 years plus the 10 years that I was already on probation, and it was stacked on top of each other. So I ended up going for an 18-year sentence.
Okay, so a total of an 18-year sentence.
Correct.
And so, did you even ever get to know Angel as a baby or as a young child?
No.
So, and how much of Isaac's life did you actually get to see in the free?
I got to be with Isaac at least until he was like 2.5 years old, and I went in.
And during that period of time, I mean, you talk about this, sounds like a very violent, attack on Sandra. Were there other times that you had been violent with her?
That on that point, that was probably about the rowdiest that I had ever gone with her. But before that, it was just like arguing, shoving, or whatever. But that day, I was just out of there.
And then at some point, well, let's talk about while you were still out before you went to prison, what sort of problems did Sandra have?
Towards me, or?
I mean, just kind of problems that would have impaired her ability to mother her children.
Oh, yeah. At that time, Sandra was a good mother. That was before she ended up getting hooked on drugs.
When did that happen? How old were the boys that when she? She
ended up getting hooked on drugs after I did that to her when I was in prison. When I was already in prison for doing that to her. She was the one that she hooked up with another guy, and that other guy was the one that hooked her on drugs.
Okay.
Your Honor, may we approach briefly?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would like to invoke the rule.
All right, the rule will be invoked. You may continue with your questioning.
Has nothing to do with you and me. So you said that, so Sandra she developed a pretty serious drug habit. What was what sort of drugs was she addicted to? If you know.
Heroin.
Okay. So she became a heroin addict, and I know you were incarcerated during this time, but like, were you aware that this was negatively impacting your boys?
I didn't know she had become addicted to drugs until after I had gotten out.
And
Yes,
when did you get out, Isaac?
I got arrested in '93 when my son was born, and I didn't see the world until 2002.
Okay. And so when you got out, where were you aware of where your boys were?
For the first week, I wasn't aware until Sandra called me one day and she told me where to go pick them up at.
And at that point, were they staying with her, or had she left them somewhere else?
She left them over there with her aunt's or her sister's house.
Okay. And were they in good condition or not good condition when you saw them?
They weren't really in good condition because I mean, when I finally got them, you know, they didn't really have any clothes on them, only the clothes on their backs. So when I started working, you know, the first 3 or 4 paychecks, I ended up spending everything on them, so that way they can have some, you know, clothes and stuff.
So at this point, how old were Isaac and Angel when you got out of prison and you were seeing them? Because I guess this was the first time that you were actually seeing Angel since ever. This is the first time you ever saw him.
Angel was about 8 years, about 8 months, because that's how long I did. And Isaac was about 10 and a half, somewhere around there, 11 years old, somewhere around there.
And what did you notice, or at some point did they come and live with you?
After I ended up getting them from their aunt's house, I ended up taking them with me, and they were staying with me for, you know, from that point on, all the way until I got incarcerated again.
Okay. And then so you got incarcerated for another prison
Well-
trip, and when did that happen?
This happened in I kept getting locked up continuously because I got on in 2002 and I went back in 2005.
Okay,
Sure.
let me stop you for what?
I went in there for a parole violation.
Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to object to relevancy.
Sustained.
So with regard to Isaac and Angel, even though you were kind of back and forth being incarcerated, did you have the opportunity to kind of get to know both of them, like what kind of kids they were and what the dynamic was kind of between them?
I ended up like between Angel and Isaac, I ended up having more problems with Isaac than with what I did with Angel. Isaac, he was
Objection, Your Honor. Specific instances of conduct.
Just generally,
Excuse me. The objection will be sustained.
generally speaking, with regard to both of the boys, would you say that from your experience, what was Isaac or Angel the more peaceful of the two?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
Do you have an opinion with regard, would you agree or disagree that Isaac was the less peaceful of the two siblings?
Objection leading.
It's not leading, it's agree
Excuse
or
me.
disagree.
All right. Could both parties approach? We're not on the record. All right. State your objection.
Leading, Your Honor.
All right. Defense.
I do not believe it was leading, Judge.
All right. The state's objection will be sustained.
Do you have any sort of opinion with regard to Isaac's character from what you observed as his dad? did you have any opinion as to Isaac's character as to whether he had a violent character or not a violent character?
He had violent tendencies.
And with regard to Angel, did you have an opinion about whether or not he had a less violent character or a more peaceful character than Isaac?
He was always
Objection leading, Judge.
That'll be overruled. You can answer.
an answer.
Yes.
He was Isaac was more hostile towards my son Angel.
And whenever he was hostile, what sorts of behaviors did you yourself observe from Isaac toward Angel?
They would struggle, like fight, push each other and stuff like that. I would have to interfere and, you know,
And generally in those instances, was it which of the boys was the initial aggressor?
Isaac.
May I have a moment, Judge?
Yes.
Isaac, you being here today and given the testimony that you've given, does that mean to you that does that trying to figure out a way to ask this? Is this hard for you to be here to say these things about Isaac?
Yeah.
Do you miss him?
Yes.
Have you seen the emotional impact that this has had on Angel?
Objection relevance.
Sustained.
I'll pass the witness.
State.
Hey, Mr. Gonzalez, do you remember talking to a psychologist by the name of Eric Cardwell?
I don't recall. I don't know.
Oh, no? May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yes.
Do you remember in your conversation with Mr. Cardwell that you
Judge, may we approach?
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw an exhibit sticker on here real quick, Judge.
All right. Thank you.
We'll call this State's Exhibit number 48. Okay, Mr. Gonzalez. I'm gonna give you a minute to refresh your recollection, and then I'll ask you a few questions, okay?
Judge, can I just kind of
Sure.
look over his shoulder? When I come up here.
And if you all need a break, just let me know. Okay. Oh,
Yes.
all right, everyone. We're going to take a short break, and because I want to make sure that everyone is focused. So I'm going to bring you all back at 3:45. That should give everybody enough time. Is that good for everybody? All right. Remember my previous instructions. All right. All right, everyone, please rise.
Judge, before the jury comes in, so we don't have to approach again, I just want to make sure. I believe that what the document that she has is actual work product from my expert that I shared with Brittany during plea negotiations. And so that's my other concern with it, other than hearsay. But that's why I would just want everyone to tread very carefully. But now that she's marked it as an exhibit, I would ask that we handle that.
Well, I mean, the problem is I don't know what happened during plea negotiations, and I don't know if that's work product or not. I know you're an officer of the court, but I wasn't privy to you all's plea negotiations. So I don't know if Brittany if you gave Brittany that and said, hey, as a part of our plea negotiations, let me show you this. I have no idea.
certainly did, and there's an email where I sent it to her and said, hopefully, I rarely do this, but hopefully this will help, because she was going to Joe to talk to him. And that was what we had talked about, was that that would be helpful for her.
I was never informed that that was any kind of work product, Judge.
Well, no. I'm not saying she's doing anything intentionally, but I'm just saying, and Anna came very late to the game. Brittany
Okay, so
and I
here's
did
the
not.
thing. Everybody is just saying things, but I need to know specifically what you all are asking.
I'm not asking anything, Judge. I'm refreshing his recollection with the document that was in the state's possession.
Okay. And now I'm being told it's in the state's possession because,
I can provide the court with the email that I sent to Ms. Mitchell along with the document, but I just don't, I mean, if she wants to refresh his recollection with it, she's entitled to refresh a witness's recollection with any item she wants, as long as she's not referencing it. If it's not in evidence before the jury, he can read it and she can say, have you refreshed your recollection?
so
and
let's
then ask
let's
her
go on the record,
questions.
please. So this is what the court wants to know. Defense, you're stating that the document that the state has was given to ADA Brittany Mitchell as a part of your plea negotiations. Is that correct?
That is correct, Judge. And I'll pull up I would like just to be very clear.
So, but here's the main question for the court. Are you objecting to her showing the witness that exhibit and asking him questions?
I would object to her showing or showing him anything other than to refresh his own recollection about statements that he made. That
Right.
report contains all kinds of other stuff in it, but I don't want it admitted as an exhibit, and I don't think that she should reference it. The referencing Dr. Cardwell, it's like you can't put the horse back in the barn, and that's done. But what I don't want is, I don't want that report bandied around the courtroom as a prop while she's questioning him. And I don't want there's highlighted things. And when you're walking in front of a jury, they see all of that. And so what I don't want.
All right. So here's my question. Number one, where is the exhibit that you want to show him to refresh his memory?
Here, Judge.
All right. Have you had a chance to read that?
Only the highlighted parts of it.
All right. And I believe, and I'm making an assumption here. If I'm correct, let me know. The highlighted portion, is that something he's alleged to have told someone?
Yes.
All right. So have you read that?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection if the state has questions for you with regards to that?
Still don't remember talking to no doctor.
Now, whether you talk to a doctor or not, do you remember making what's in the document that the state has shown you? Do you remember making those statements to someone?
And Judge, may I clarify why I think this is, again, it gets to be so messy, because I provided that report to Brittany, and when I provided that to her in my email, it was very clear that it was in negotiating and the plea negotiations. And they don't even know what's in that report. And that report was generated through our expert, but he sourced his information from other sources that they don't have.
All right. So here's the thing. It's the state asking this witness to review a document, and then I believe the state is going to ask this witness questions. Is that,
Yes.
am I following that correctly?
Yes, Judge.
Then that's what's going to happen. I don't know what happened during plea negotiations. The question becomes whether or not, when you turn over work product and plea negotiations, whether that's admissible or not, but it appears that's not what the argument is about. The argument is this witness seeing the document, which he has, correct?
Yes.
And there's no need to reapproach him with the document because he says he's read it. And then you're going to ask him questions.
Yes, Judge, and perhaps I can phrase them in a way that wouldn't give us grounds for impeaching him further with it.
Okay. All right, there we go. And whatever objections you all have, you can make them.
You mean make them now to them offering that? as
No,
an
she,
exhibit,
my
or-
understanding, she's not going to be offering it as an exhibit.
I can't offer it into evidence. It's hearsay.
She's just going to ask him questions
Okay.
about any prior statements he has made.
Then yes, then in that case, I don't have any issue as long as it's not referenced as, because I just appreciate it being done in a much cleaner way, and it sounds like that's what she's gonna do, so.
All right, let's bring the jurors in. Thank
All
you.
right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, State, you may continue with your question.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez. Would you describe Angel and Isaac as having a sibling rivalry?
Correct?
And would you say they fought a lot, but it was never about anything serious?
Correct?
No further questions, Judge. Ask the witness.
We don't have anything further, Judge.
All right, you may step down. Defense, call your next witness.
Can we have a moment, please?
Yes.
The defense will rest.
State,
State rest.
does state close?
Yes, state closes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you close?
Yes, sir.
All right, please be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is all of the evidence that you're going to hear in this case. I'm going to bring you all back on Monday, and it will be Monday at 9 a.m. I will have a docket probably in the morning, but I'm going to take care of this matter first. So what will happen on Monday is you will come in and I will read what's called the jury charge or charge of court, which contains the law that you're to follow. And then the state and the defense will be able to give you closing arguments if they choose to do so. Again, remember my instructions. You're not allowed to start deliberating in this matter at all. You're not to start deliberating with yourself individually or with each other. You're not allowed to talk about this case with anyone. You're not allowed to view anything about this case. If somebody wants to talk to you about this case, you need to let them know you're not allowed to talk to them about it. If you see anything, you are not allowed to watch it. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from. All right. All right. We can go off the record. So you all have a safe weekend, but a joyful weekend. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. Oh, and I'm so sorry. 9 a.m. The garage is going to be full. Right. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. You guys too.
All right.